Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Raymond Skinner, and I'm Chair of the Board of Commissioners for the DC Housing Authority, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is our regular monthly meeting of the DC Housing Authority, and it's being held today, July 8th, 2026. And this meeting is being held at the DCHA Envision Center here at 2203 N Street Southwest. And we promised several months ago that we begin to take our meetings on the road to go into different sites around the city. So this is the first of those meetings, and we will be let you know where we will have other site-based meetings as we move forward. So with that, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to allow for personal reflections. Thank you. So the Board of Commissioners welcomes input on matters of public concern and offers you today the opportunity to express your views during the public testimony portion of this meeting. However, we do require that the members of the public who attend our meetings abide by certain rules of decorum to allow the board to complete its business. For this meeting, DCHA asks that you remain muted for those of you who are dialing in until you are instructed to speak. Anyone who violates these rules will be removed from the meeting. Serious or repeated violations of the rules may result in your being barred from speaking at future meetings. Since our last meeting, we've had another member of our board to be reappointed for another 2-year term. So Commissioner Clay was sworn in by the mayor's office, but he needs to be sworn in for the Housing Authority. So our General Counsel, Amy Glassman, is going to swear in Commissioner Clay.
So Commissioner Clay, I'm going to ask you to repeat after me. I'm going to give you a shortened oath of office. Right before we came in the office, came into this meeting, we sat down and you signed a longer oath of office. So I do have that for our records as well, but we're going to do a shortened version here. So if you can repeat after me. I, Leroy Clay III.
I, Leroy Clay III.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That in my capacity as a member.
That in my capacity as a member.
Of the DCHA Board of Commissioners.
Of the DCHA Board of Commissioners.
I will faithfully execute the applicable laws.
I will faithfully execute the applicable laws.
Of the United States of America.
Of the United States of America.
And the District of Columbia.
And the District of Columbia.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
And will faithfully discharge the duties of the office.
And will faithfully discharge the duties of the office.
Which I am about to enter.
Which I am about to enter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Commissioner Clay. Okay, at this time, I'm going to ask for a roll call to determine if we have a quorum.
Sure. Denise Blackson. Thank you. Rhonda Hamilton. Thank you. Leroy Clay.
Present.
Thank you. Chris Murphy.
Present.
Thank you. Jennifer Reed. Teresa Silla.
Present.
Thank you. And Raymond Skinner.
Present.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you. As I'm sure you've heard, last week DCHA discovered that we were the victims of a cybersecurity incident. As soon as we became aware, our internal IT team began working with outside security experts and law enforcement to assess the situation and to figure out what we should do. One of the first actions was to shut down access to our systems, including our emails and website. I am told that this is the standard procedure for these types of incidents. I can assure you that we are working as quickly as possible to get things back to normal. But following our experts' advice, this must be done slowly and methodically, and most of all, safely. The safety and security of the information we keep is of the utmost importance. And we want to make sure that we get our systems back on track, as we get our systems back on track, that it is done as safely as possible. And again, according to the experts, this may take some time. The cause of the incident is still under investigation, and we will share information as soon as it becomes available. Meanwhile, I want to assure you that DCHA is open for business. We have developed some workarounds that allow us to continue to serve all of our customers, our residents, our voucher holders, our landlords, and other partners. And I'm going to ask Nicole in a second to say a little bit more about some of what we're doing to allow you to continue to access our systems and to do business with DCHA. But first, on behalf of the board, I really want to sincerely thank everyone who has been helping us to deal with this situation. I particularly want to single out the DCHA IT staff, which has literally been working around the clock for the last week and a half. But I also want to thank other DCHA staff, HUD, law enforcement officials, the district government, and of course, our outside cybersecurity experts. I mean, it is truly heartening for the board to see this kind of commitment and support that we've gotten from all these various entities. So with that, I'm going to ask Nicole to talk a little bit about what we've done and how we are continuing to do business.
Thank you, Chair Skinner. Again, Nicole Wycliffe, Interim Executive Director. So again, thank you to everyone. This has been frustrating for all of us as we go through this. So there's some key things that we definitely want to point out that we've continued to do. We've ensured rent payments have been made and were made at the beginning of the month. The voucher team has been working on a skeleton crew, right? Our offices have been open at each of our locations. There's been some frustrations of we're limited of what we could do at those sites. When all the systems went down, we can answer some general questions. Priorities, of course, were move-ins at the beginning of the month. So the team worked to ensure that move-ins were happening for any individuals that had to move in on the voucher side. So again, our offices remain open. I'm happy to say today our call center, actually DCHA staff, is now able to handle our call center. So before, of course, you would call in, you'd get a recording, you could press the applicable prompt, and it will go to an outside call center, external. So they don't know how we operate 100%. So our call center is back online today and able to handle calls. In addition, on our property management side of the house, although it's limited because the staff is on site, it's more tangible. So you can go to your on-site offices, see your staff. When we're closed, you're able to call in to the after-hour number to put your work orders in. Emergencies, that company knew to call staff. So again, we had a lot of workarounds, but we were able to prioritize payments, hopefully emergency work orders, move-ins, and everything else. There are some things that possibly could have slipped through the cracks, but the offices are open. Many of us are back on emails, so you can email. The biggest is we want to be completely sure and safe. So what we've decided to do is we're cleaning I say cleaning, IT folks have a different re-imaging, all workstations, right? All laptops for our staff. So if you can imagine, we've got hundreds of staff. So our IT team physically has to re-image each laptop manually. So that process can take some time. However, we have different staff and different capacities up. We prioritize some staff. They're able to get in systems, as I said, make rental payments, make some payment, other accounts payable payments. So we're here. Again, we apologize. I'd like to thank you all for your patience. thank the landlords for their patience, of course, our residents, and to the staff as well. A lot of people had to jump in outside of our IT department. And Senior Vice President Carolyn, is there any items on the voucher? Because we see that we've gotten a lot more questions on the voucher side rather than the public housing side of the house. So anything that I have missed from your team?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Carolyn Cornegay Punter, Senior Vice President over the Office of Administration, which the Housing Choice Voucher program falls under. Now, just to reiterate, as of this morning, we had 86% of our customer call center reps actively working and answering calls. As of the start of this meeting, we are at 100% capacity. But with that being said, we have an extreme high volume of calls. So what we have activated is the callback feature, wherein if you call and if you are going to be on hold for 20, 30 minutes, you can actually hang up, press the button and hang up, and we will call you back in the order in which the call was received. We've also activated Go-To. Go-To is a system in which if you abandon the call, if you just held on and then you're like, I'm just tired of holding on, if you hang up, we will actually call you back to see if there's anything we can do to assist you. We're right now in the process of consolidating the log sheets of everyone that came into our 3 locations: 702 H Street Northwest, 625 D Street Southwest, and the Fred Douglass Center, which is at 2000 Alabama Avenue Southeast. We're consolidating the list of everyone that came in because, again, as Interim Director Wycliffe mentioned, we can only answer general questions. So what we're doing is consolidating the list, and we're going to start making those call back so we can address any issues or circumstances. HCVP, we have a skeleton team that is now triaging our request for tenancy approvals. So we're moving forward. We're scheduling inspections so that we're ready for our August 1 move-ins. We believe that August 1 will not be a problem for move-ins. Any July 1 move-ins that just fell through the cracks, we're addressing those as well. But we had a plethora of participants transfer and or move in to their new units on July 1. The staff reached out to landlords and the participants to ensure that they were aware you can still move in, but the payments may be delayed. Landlords were gracious and very, very much so. They understood that. Our inspections team did inspections of new move-ins or initials and also any emergencies. So we did not drop the ball there. We did not do annual inspections, but we'll pick up the slack starting next week. Any inspections that were scheduled for next week moving forward will go forward without a hitch. The last thing I want to mention is that next week we will have a participants town hall at the Panorama Room, 1600 Morris Road Southeast. Doors open at 9:30 a.m. Again, Wednesday, July 15th, we'll be there to answer questions about eligibility, leasing, inspections, transfers, recertifications, and mediation. We'll also promote Rent Cafe because you can go on the Rent Cafe and really see everything about you, who you are, and your process as it relates to the Housing Choice Voucher program. Staff will be there to answer any questions, and we will have our devices and our systems will be up and running.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole and Carolyn. And again, I know this has been somewhat frustrating, but we are working as quickly as possible to get everything up and back to normal. So at this time, I'd like the commissioners to consider the minutes of the June 10th, 2026 board meeting. Are there any addition, corrections, changes to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
A second? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the minutes stand approved as presented. At this time, I'm going to ask our interim executive director to give the executive director's report.
All right, thank you again. So first, I know we went a little out of order. in our report that we put out each month, you're able to see where we're at as far as occupancy on the property management side, our voucher utilization. So I'll refer you to that for that. But I wanted to first announce the promotion of Ms. Punter, who you just heard from. So Ms. Punter is our Senior Vice President over our Office of Administration, which she just said. And as she stated, under her operations or under the Office of Administration is our Housing Choice Voucher, which we say HCVP, our Eligibility and Continued Occupancy Department, ECOD, Office of Customer Engagement, and our Office of ADA 504 and Reasonable Accommodations is under Mrs. Punter. Again, we have a new employee, Mrs. Ricky Maddox. Unfortunately, she's not here today. She's sick. So this morning she called me, so it's fine. She's sick. So we'll definitely ensure that she's on our other meetings, and we'll be coming out and doing some tours, which I want to call it, at each of the properties and locations, so you'll be able to meet her at that time. But Ms. Maddox is our Senior Vice President over our Office of Operations, and under the Office of Operations, that's the Property Management Operations Division, our Capital Construction Division, and our Office of Resident Services. So I am extremely excited for the both of them. As you heard from Mrs. Punter earlier, talking through everything that her and her team were able to quickly deploy in the cyber attack. So I'm excited for what we have to come of planned events and not unplanned events. So I'm going to keep this short, but I'm excited, number one, to be here in front of you. This is, of course, at DCHA during my tenure in deputy and now an interim executive director role is my first in person. So I'm happy. I come from housing authorities, which our meetings were always in person. So I'm excited about our hybrid and us doing this, routinely, not monthly. It takes a lot for the team to deploy and have to set up at our locations. So thank you to everyone. And we'll open it up when we have, after the meeting, I'll be around to speak with them. But thank you, and it's nice to see everyone.
Okay, thank you, Nicole.
Mhm.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is public testimony. And again, we always start with the residents' testimony, and each speaker will have 3 minutes to provide testimony, and you can speak on any issue that is of concern to you. And I'm going to ask Shanita to assist me because she has the list of the people who have signed up to speak.
Sure, Chairman. So the first person we're going to call is Dolores Miller, who I believe is in person. Dolores Miller, you can come on up to the testimony stand and begin your testimony. And hold on, we're going to have you to press the button so it can turn green, so we can hear, so everyone can hear you.
Okay, yeah, it's green.
There you go.
Okay, good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
My name is Dolores Miller, and I live in Judiciary House. And the topics that I wanted to get further clarification are: one, Judiciary's renovation and relocation plan impact on residents, realistic target date for residents to vacate, when will host sites that will meet persons' individual needs be ready for residents to view? And what input do the commissioners have on relocation as it pertains to Judiciary House?
Good. Yeah.
So am I on?
You're on,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. So for Judiciary is one of our properties that is going through what we call tax credit and bond for rehab. So relocation is a very hot topic and a sensitive topic. Right now, the timeline, the relocation comes in once we have gone through all the HUD measures, and HUD has given us approvals, and our Housing Finance Agency has given us approvals to close. So right now, the team has been meeting every month, generally with at the property with the residents, just preparing for relocation, talking about some sites options, right? So options are other public housing sites, vacant units. They've been talking through options of if individuals choose to live with their family. And so those, right now, we're still just in the planning phases because the timeline of closing is dependent upon your financial closing. So again, it's FHA financing, lending, and all of that takes some time to get through closing. We will definitely provide no less than a 90-day written notice when it is time to relocate. So in the interim, I know Mr. John Settles has been out. The staff has continuously been out talking about different locations where we have vacant units. And the last meeting I was at, the consensus in order for the redevelopment to happen quickly is empty the property completely out versus, trying to do it on floors and tiers. So I know that doesn't answer all of your questions. We will continue to come back to give you information. At the very minimum, we will issue a 90-day notice of when we know that we're going to close on the transaction and when we have to start relocating you.
Okay.
And will the commissioners address their input and vision for Judiciary House moving forward?
So we work closely with Nicole and staff, right? Yeah, so we're on top of it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's my time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next, we're going to pivot to Zoom platform, and we're going to call on Nashanta Washington. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Nashanta Washington. Okay, I understand that she's not with us. We're going to stay on Zoom. Next, we're going to call Katrina Jenkins. Ms. Jenkins, we're sending you a promotion request. Please accept. And once you've accepted, star 6 to unmute yourself.
Oh my God. Hello.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm
I'm
good.
sorry,
Go ahead.
some
You
kind
can
of
begin.
way I've ended up leaving you guys, but I'm still talking in reference to a situation that I'm having right now. And it's two different situations. The first situation had to do with my voucher and me not understanding what was all I was supposed to have done as far as sending documents in for my voucher in reference to whatever happened. Time was just not on my side. And I realized that there's a certain window when it came to the vouchers and the voucher, and I tried to get reinstated for the voucher, but unfortunately, no one answered the emails, the calls, or anything. I tried to reach out to the supervisor at the place for at housing near Chinatown, and no one responded. And then I ended up getting a letter from a Miss Perfrail, and she stated that because of me not turning in documentation, that I was not going to be able to receive the reinstatement for the voucher. I've been trying to reach people before now, and I got a phone call from Mr. Anton Shaw today. And he briefly just told me, I didn't meet the deadline and I didn't do the briefing well in my first time having a voucher, but I've been on the waiting list since 1985. So I just wanted to just address that. If someone can explain to me a little bit about that. But the second thing that I wanted to talk about is a rent increase has been on my been issued to me from a Laura, I don't know, her name is Latoya McCall, and she has been in her own way sending me letters saying things about me, harassing me as well with my son, saying that I was in my home where I live at Community of Hope, that I was selling drugs at my complex. That was the one thing she did. Then the second thing she did was my rent was increased, and it was not really. It was I was supposed to pay a portion of rent My rent was fine up until October the 17th, 2025. And the rent was paid up. And then when they realized that the the change wasn't effective correctly, they're trying to make me do back pay for rent here. Um, so I don't know. And now it's my rent is honestly up. It was $580. Now it's up to $2,088. So there's an issue altogether because somewhere along the line, Miss McCall and whoever else is with her, they're definitely I can only say her because on every document I have, her name is on it. And I'm just trying to figure out, I don't know what else to do. There's no
Okay,
way.
Ms. Jenkins.
I'm sorry.
We'll have someone follow up. Ms. Punter will follow up with you and try to figure out what's going on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we're going to call in person former Commissioner Aquarius Van Gossary.
It's a pleasure being here today, and I'm going to stay within my 3 minutes, or Alicia is going to give me an F.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Pleasure to see you.
First of all, I want to go on record and say this. First of all, I want to congratulate alumnus of mine for winning the election with 110 votes, and that's Rhonda Hampton. We studied together, and Wanda know me like a prince, so y'all got a fortunate somebody back there to keep me in control with her eyes. In the meantime, I only have 3 minutes, so I want to say this. Commissioner Skinner and I have already had a conversation, and he's going to contact me and we're going to go further. But what I'm here today to let you know that I am a proud socialist Democrat. I've studied Bernie Sanders from the day that he became a senator. And I want to congratulate the mayor of New York. I am cautioning this housing authority. Today, I have talked to Daniel and I'm in trouble. I've already contacted Bernie Sanders. I've asked him to come to Sibley, and I want him to identify what a socialist Democrat is, because he's the one that started, he's the father of it, and he's 89 years old, and the Congress have respect for him. And that's the only person that can give us that answer. And so we'll see what he's going to do. I told him I would take my Social Security check and make sure that there will be no food there. So if you come there, you're going to come there because you're there to learn and educate. I told him that the board of the District of Columbia Housing Authority will be invited. The Citywide Advisory Board will be invited. Former and present commissioners will be invited. All former and present resident councils will be invited, and anyone 18 and over on the lease who want to be educated at that time, because that may be the only time we get to do that. So I want to put that on the board. Now, I have been studying social housing. Social housing came to the District of Columbia Housing Authority. Shanita, Carla, and Alethea knows, it may not be in the record, but the Honorable Lori Prucher, when she was in Naro, she taught us about social housing. Now, we have a subsidiary, and I want to go on record, and I can prove it. I am the first and the only commissioner that served on the DCHA board. And then it was open to other commissioners. My name is signed on the Howard Theater and many documents. And you can prove it by Shanita. Now, with that said, with DCHE, as we move forward, it's a nonprofit and it's a developer. DCHA have land. We can develop our own housing and the social housing with this model, if we look at it very carefully to make it affordable housing, because all other housing authorities will be doing it. I'm very disappointed that after I left this board, that a lot of promises was made and they were not kept. And of course, they could not be kept because as directors changes, policy changes. I want to congratulate Keith Pettigrew for setting out his 3-year plan, but I'm asking this board, please do not pass that move to work plan yet. I've read that plan, and that is a very extensive plan, and I know that Commissioner Hampton have not read that plan like everybody else, so don't be upset when she abstained, because she's not going to cheat. And I'm asking you, Rhonda, Commissioner Rhonda Hampton, you have a strong alumni. You came out of DC Agenda. It is time for you as a commissioner to put us to work. We in all parts of your government, and whether Naomi Mitchell like it or not, she's going to help us. And I mean it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look forward to working with you.
Next, we're going to call, I have in person, but maybe he is on Zoom. It was former Commissioner Ken Council. I don't see him here, but I'm going to ask if we see him on Zoom and if we can promote him so that he can begin his 3-minute testimony. And once again, former Commissioner Ken of Council, *6, so you can unmute yourself once you receive the promotion request.
Yes. The same.
So it seems like we might be having some technical difficulties, so I'm going to move forward. Someone will let me know if he is ready. We'll come back. We will definitely come back. I'm going to move forward with Paulette Matthews. I have her on Zoom. Okay, I'm going to move forward. On Zoom, we're going to stay there. Patricia Malloy. Ms. Malloy, if you can accept the promotion request and *6 so you can begin your testimony.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name
Good
is
afternoon.
Patricia Malloy, former resident of Lincoln Heights, resident council. I am requesting permission to hold a meeting in the Enhancement Center with the residents of Lincoln Heights. Reason for my meeting, requesting this meeting is because of 4 concerns. But the main concern is on September the 10th, 2020, a lawsuit was filed by the Attorney General, Carl Racine, in Lincoln Heights is one of the 10 properties that was listed in the settlement. What I am requesting is, number 1, in the lawsuit, securing entrance to residence buildings is section E, page 4. Property maintenance is section F, page 4. Community engagement, section I, page 5. And property walkthrough, page 7. The reason I'm requesting this meeting is to discuss communication and notification, maintenance concerns, cleaning, upkeep and cleaning of the apartment buildings, and disrespect from DC Housing Authority Police. Also at that meeting, I would like to have the Director of Property Management, Director of Maintenance, Director of Resident Services, and the Chief of the DC Housing Authority. I am requesting this meeting because it seems as though I'm no longer a resident of Lincoln Heights. They really have no leadership. The residents are calling me on a daily basis with maintenance issues, lack of upkeep of the buildings and the property. So I went back and researched the lawsuit. I'm asking the board and the interim director of the DC Housing Authority to look at the lawsuit that was signed off on September the 10th, 2020, and to let me know if those infractions that Carl Racine had the DCHA to sign off on that they would do, has not been done. It started off being done right, but for the past 4 years, the residents of Lincoln Heights have just been left in an uproar, unknown. When residents call me, and some of the staff is aware, anything dealing with maintenance, I've asked them to take pictures. The day that they call me, send me the picture. Wait a few days after, take another picture. A lot of the things have not been done, and it's very disturbing to get complaints and no one is addressing them. My last comment is, Lincoln Heights has a part-time manager and a part-time foreman. Lincoln Heights deserves a full-time manager and a full-time foreman. I am requesting to hold a meeting. I will be responsible for putting together the flyers and getting them distributed. I just need permission from the interim director and the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Malloy. I'm certainly not aware of the lawsuit that you mentioned, but we'll do some research on that and get back to you with where we are on that. With regard to the meeting, I'm going to ask Nicole to follow up with you and see if that can be facilitated.
Thank you,
Well,
Commissioner.
I'll reach out to you, Ms. Malloy.
Thank you, interim director.
So next, we're going to go to Donna Towns, who's on Zoom as well. Ms. Towns, I understand we sent you a promotion request. If you can accept and star 6 so you can begin your testimony. Once again, Donna Towns. Ms. Towns, if you can hear my voice, can you go ahead and begin your testimony? Okay, I'm going to take that as she's having some technical difficulties. I'm going to move forward to in person. We have Sheena McGill.
Hi, how's everyone?
Good, how are you?
Good afternoon.
Well, I came down here because I'm a housing choice voucher recipient. My concern right now is I have other residents in my building, they couldn't make it. So I told them that I would mention it on their behalf. Our rent haven't been paid for this month. So we are getting notices from the landlord. I did reach out to the landlord, explain it, even sent them an email of your website or Facebook. They're not taking our word. So we need somebody to reach out to them and explain to them what's going on about the rent situation. Also, I have an RFT up. I'm just waiting for an inspection. It's supposed to move in August 1st. I have an amazing caseworker, so I'm not speaking bad on her, okay? I have an amazing caseworker, don't take her from me. But moving forward, I've had other complaints because I do advocacy for a lot of tenants and I deal with a lot of voucher holders. They haven't, it's disconnect with housing choice voucher specialists. Now, on the flip side of it, the caseworker do have a heavy caseload, so I understand that. So it's not more so a complaint, it's more so of a way moving forward, how we can work together with better responses. So I'm trying to get the tenants to understand the caseloads are heavy. We human. Miss Rhonda, congratulations. I'm so glad to see you here. Miss Nicole, you got this, okay? We're going through a time right now, and all we can do is stick together and work together and stay prayed up, okay? So that's all I want to say. And I want to thank the Citywide Advisory Board and Mr. Anton Shaw, because he's been a big help.
Okay.
And I'm so happy Ms. Punter is back. I have no worries. That's all I have to say.
Thank you,
Thank you, Ms.
you.
McGill.
So next we have Shanta High, who's in person. Hi, Miss High.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, I'm blessed by the best. We're gonna pray for the rest. Amen.
Okay.
Right. Real quick, Miss Punter. I'm glad you back, girl. Thank God, because things get done when fun is in the house. Okay. Uh, good afternoon, everybody. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Trusting God's plan helps believers move forward with confidence and hope. Good afternoon again, everyone. I am Lady Reverend Dr. Shantae High, President Emerita of Council at Park Morton. I'm here to discuss the fact that DCHA and Commissioner Skinner brought this up, that DCHA has been hacked, which compromises all of the residents' personal, medical, and financial information, whether they're a voucher recipient or in public housing. Residents can actually sue in light of this incident because it causes unnecessary complications such as identity theft. I encourage everyone listening to contact the 3 credit bureaus and place a freeze on your credit in light of this incident until the issues are resolved. Next, then the move to work plan is utter trash. It's utter trash. Just throw it in the landfill now and start over. I don't understand why these changes, particular changes have been made, but DCHA seems, and this is my personal opinion and the experiences I have had, DCHA seems to be in the business of oppression, adherence, obstruction, and denial rather than uplifting, motivating, encouraging, and investing in residents, including our small business. Lastly, God has a plan for me to move forward. However, DCHA, HCVP voucher case managers do not respond to emails or calls. This is a common complaint that has been going on for quite a few years, and I'm one of those people that is experiencing that. My case manager, Mr. Maurice Holton, will not respond to my emails that I've sent to him several times over asking for my eldest daughter to be added to my voucher as my full-time caregiver. I received no response. I asked last year to port out of DC, and still, outside of sending the HCVP email to me, I received no other correspondence from Mr. Holton. Once I emailed Mr. Holton again with my lawyer CC'd on, then he decided to respond vaguely. I'm almost done. And just to make it clear, I want my daughter, Atira High, to be added as my caregiver because she has been taking care of me since I survived that hit and run in 2019. And that's number one. And the last thing is I want to pour it out because I am exacerbated with and exasperated with the targeted bullying from DCHA, their police, especially today upon entry, the harassment, the lack of communication, the empty promises to residents about returning home to Park Morton, which they've been denied, the theft, the lies, and the fact that DCHA is allowing money to be stolen from Park Morton Phase 2. And that's it.
Thank you, Ms. High.
Thank you very much.
Next, we're going to call Kathy Moore, and I have her in person. Hi, Ms. Moore.
Hello.
Hello, Ms. Moore.
My name is Kathy Moore, and I am here because I submitted an RFT packet on April 29th, and I have not received a response on whether or not the package is completed. The landlord and I, we both have emailed, called, telephoned, and come into the 702 H Street Northwest office, and we are not getting any response. And it's been like 70 days. Now, since coming to the meeting, I'm listening to what the things that are going on, so, but I just wanted to know, we wanted to know whether the package is complete. And Marilyn Taylor had, who was, I guess, my acting housing specialist she emailed and said, after I came in the office and Mr. Queen told me that someone would contact me the next day. She said, you have 5 days to get the package completed or we're gonna terminate your application. But meanwhile, we had been waiting 60 days. So I wrote her, but once again, after she told us that, the landlord has submitted more documents and we haven't heard anything since that date. So I'm just want to know the status of the application and if I can get some help in that area. Okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
then
And
we have.
I was listening to Ms. Conner, so-
Yeah, we have your name and contact information, so somebody will get back to you.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to move forward with Cloris Lowry in person.
Greetings, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I like to say to the new elected, Rhonda Hamilton and Leroy Clay, welcome, welcome. And to everybody on this board, everybody face look new to me. It's been about 3 years since I've been to a meeting, so it seems like everyone is new. So hi.
Okay. Good afternoon.
My first, well, the one thing that I want to talk about, and we've been talking about it too, the voucher holders. I've been going to a lot of meetings. I'm with the DC Empower, and when they ask us questions, the one thing that I always put is that how do we help the voucher holders? I'm a voucher holder myself the first time in the house, and what I'm learning is I needed some help. Like the other lady who talked about she couldn't get any help with a voucher who was on the Zoom and she needed a reinstatement. I too needed a reinstatement. But I knew how to press and get that and make sure that I didn't fall through the cracks. And as much as I didn't overstand, I still have a tenacity to fight for what I want, right? And I want to commend housing because they have been great. I got my voucher. I'm in a beautiful home. But what I'm asking is that maybe we could coordinate a housing choice voucher focus group for the people who do not know how to keep a house, right? Who never had a house. We have a lot of people who lose their vouchers and nobody's asking why they're losing their vouchers. Like this woman, why is she losing a voucher? Because she don't understand the paperwork because after the briefing, nobody else is coming in contact. And like you go out to the places, the tours, nobody's going to the housing, nobody's going to the voucher people housing. So that's what this group shall do. So let's maybe put something in place for that. I like to put something in place for that. I have talked to Denise Blackson, who said that she would help me, but I'm also wanting to present it to the board to say maybe we could move forward on that. That would help with us getting through some of this stuff also. And I think that's it. Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Lauer.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to call Cheryl Clark. And I have her in person. Ms. Clark? Okay, I'm being told that she had to leave. Let's move forward. We're going to move to our non-resident speakers. First, we're going to call Vanessa Harris. We're just going to double check if she is on Zoom or not. Vanessa Harris. Okay, we're moving forward. Next, we had in person, is it Aisha or Aisha Hudson? You can come forward, Ms. Hudson. Sure.
Good afternoon, commissioners and everyone here.
Good afternoon.
My name is Aisha Hudson. I am a local housing provider and a retired public servant. For nearly 27 years, I have owned and managed residential properties in Wards 7 and 8, communities that have been historically underserved through strategic disinvestment and now undergoing another season of divestment. I am here because I need your help, and more importantly, my residents need your help. My focus today is on our 13-unit building at 4540 Benning Road Southeast. We have major safety concerns with a constrained budget due to vacancies and maintenance expenses. I have communicated the property status to the building's assigned specialist, to DC Housing Authority's leadership, and now before this commission for the second time. We are requesting a live-in police officer as allowed per Title 24 of HUD's guidance in Section 5.661 titled Section 8 Project-Based Assistance Programs, approval for a police or other security personnel to live in project. We are also requesting full compensation per our contract and responsiveness from DC Housing Authority staff as we undergo a substantial renovation that we'll be working with multiple DC government agencies to perform. Since February 2025, and this is going into the examples, since February 2025, when the last live-in police officer moved out, the safety of the building has deteriorated in many ways, both hazardous and it's been documented. I had previously shared the 911 call list that I had with me today. This shows 33 calls of service since we acquired the building in May of 2024 to October of 2025. I don't have a more updated one because I had to go through DC's FOIA process to get it. There were 13 priority 1 calls and 18 required direct MPD response. We have had drug overdoses in the hallway. We've witnessed mental health crises and assaults, and a gun was also recovered from the property. The front door's glass has been broken, and this is after these individuals were throwing rocks at the windows. We have installed a camera system and a control access to try to deal with it. We also participate in DC Cameras program. While all of this is happening, we are not receiving our full rent. Even though our contract calls for rent of $1,404 for a 2-bedroom apartment, DC Housing Authority has not paid the full amount. An example of that, we entered an application in September of 2025. Months went by only to be told in January of 2026, I had to cancel that application from this individual to go through the referral process. Since then, we've evaluated at least 20 people. Some of them are not even aware that we were going to be reaching out, and that same vacancy is still there in the building. We also are not getting the 80% that we're entitled to according to HUD Section 882.411 titled Payment for Vacancies, because we're carrying these vacancies and they're not of our own doing. And just to wrap up, I'm skimming. We've instituted a building steward program where we're empowering a resident at the building to be sort of a co-manager. They'll be working directly with DC Housing Authority. I'm requesting help with going through the renovation process, the police officer, full payment through the contract, and just general cooperation and assistance as a small housing provider. It's documented that small housing providers make up over 80% of the housing stock in DC. And I've been doing it since '99, and this is the most challenging that it has been. So I do ask for you all to help.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hudson, and thank you for sharing that. And I'll make sure that I talk to the staff and we'll follow up, see what we can do.
Thank you.
Okay.
We're going to switch to our Zoom platform. We're going to call, I believe it is DCHA Homes. DCHA Homes. I understand we sent you a promotion request.
Are you able to hear me now?
We can hear you.
Yes.
You should
Okay,
begin, Ms.
great. Yes, I am a DC housing landlord, and I am also here on behalf of another DC housing landlord. He's elderly and he's been a DC housing landlord for over 40 years. I'm here about the response time of the caseworkers, inspections, anybody that you reach out to. It's like nobody answers. Nobody answers emails. Nobody answers telephone messages. it's like calling into a hole. His issue was that he had an inspection done and the inspector never identified whose responsibility it was. The tenant had only been in the house for a year and she literally destroyed the house. And the inspector never identified, this is landlord's responsibility. This is the tenant's responsibility. And another thing he wants to know, are rent increases in effect at this point? That's a question. And then also, he would like to know what can he do about either assistance with housing authority to get with the tenant regarding how she's tearing his house up? What can he do about, as far as putting her out? He says, can I put them out and not keeping his place clean and sanitary? And, he also mentioned the rent increase. I'm reading from his text. Will that be allowed? Will the rent increase be allowed? And does he have to keep them under the lease? And if he decides to not renew their lease, but he basically is looking for assistance. He's almost 80 years old. He's been with you guys for like, damn near 40 years, with different housing, apartment buildings and stuff like that throughout the DC area. And this particular house on M Street that he has, it was a beautiful 4-bedroom house. She's been in there just about probably a year and 3 months, and she's literally destroyed the house. He had to put out a lot of money to pass inspection and things like that, but he's just basically looking for some type of guidance. He just feels disrespected, being ignored and stuff like that. It literally, because I do all of his emails for him, and it's literally been weeks since the mid-May since we've been emailing and calling, and nobody has responded. One lady did respond, only to say reach out to the inspector, but she never gave the inspector's name. I mean, it's just literally outrageous. So that's basically the concern.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Holmes.
Yeah.
Yes, so Ms. Holmes, we'll have staff reach out to you, and if you could, when staff reach out, if you could provide us his
Yep.
contact information
Yes,
as well.
absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Thank you.
And I can answer, right now, our rent increases are paused.
Okay.
So I can't answer
Okay.
that.
I appreciate
And
that. I'll let them know that.
They'll reach out to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to call in person Carolyn Brown.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
So glad to see everybody.
Good to see you.
I'm here because I had a lot of problems, but I talked to some people before the meeting start, and they said they're gonna do something about the problems that I had. But my whole issue is about our seniors. Is there any way that we can get a program for our seniors? Some of our seniors is living terrible. I mean, actually terrible. We need something. We need more housekeeping inspection. We need something. This is terrible. So we need to do better. And it's a lot of people that I'm going to give them a chance. I ain't going to step on their head right now, but I'm coming back.
Okay. Okay.
And I want people to be held accountable for these things that's going on, because it don't make no kind of sense. So this is all I'm gonna say right now. But I had a whole lot to say.
Okay.
A whole lot. So I'm gonna give y'all a chance, and I will be back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
So next, we're going to have in person Daniel Del Paliego.
See.
It's on the last battery line, just in case. I don't know.
Okay.
Through the meeting.
Thank
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good to see you in person.
Likewise, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daniel Del Pielo. I work with Empower DC. We work with public housing residents and voucher residents around the city. A couple of questions on the cyber attack. I'm so sorry that that's happened. You all are in an unenviable position But we were wondering if when and how will residents know if their personal information has been compromised? And following up to that, if the authority has any sort of insurance to protect against these issues. I think that is the biggest concern right now that we've been hearing from folks is like, did they get my stuff? And I don't know. I think the answer we've been giving is, what we've been hearing, you all have been reporting. So I think that that's an important thing to flag. I also wanted to just talk a little bit about a significant uptick in eviction filings we've seen at James Creek. We've seen at least 25 filed since May. And it's concerning because James Creek is also one of the properties that is supposed to be renovated. So the optics of that, I understand people fall back in the rent. There's a process. I understand all of that. But the coincidence that a property that's being renovated, where people will be relocated, and then there's such a significant amount of folks receiving notices to appear in court for non-payment of rent is a big concern. As I understand, I've heard that one of the goals is to maybe have folks enter into payment plans, and while that is a good thing, I think that's a little bit of putting the cart before the horse, as it were, given that it puts folks in a very precarious situation if they don't have the wherewithal to appear in court on that, when their initial hearing is called. So I just wanted to flag that and see if there's anything else that could potentially be done to bring attention to that. So thank you all.
Thank you. With regard to the cyber incident, the short answer is we don't know yet if any information has been compromised. As I mentioned in my remarks, we're working with the cybersecurity expert firm, and they are, combing through all of the information and data. And at this point, they really can't tell. So as soon as we know something, we will let the public know.
Thank you.
And I can add, we do have cyber insurance.
Yes, we do. Right.
Thank you.
Nicole, you want to mention eviction since they brought that up?
Yes, so definitely not targeted or isolated
I hope
any properties. Yeah, I would hope not. So generally under, our federal programs, we do have to abide by the leases and federal regulations. So possibly we do 30-day notices of non-payment of rent. Generally, the team, housing managers, probably area managers should be working and speaking with the residents. Outside of that, there are ways to get a resident back in good standing, and that's entering into the tenant payment agreement, and that's generally what the housing authority should not have to courts. Uh-oh, I don't know if my battery's low, sorry. There are options there. So definitely I'll look into this because nothing should be isolated to any properties. And I heard from Commissioner Hamilton as well. So we'll look into this. We'll look at some other measures we can put into place. But generally, as we have to follow like our leases and the federal regulations of collecting.
Yeah, no, and that's understood. I think the concern also is just, as folks enter into agreements, it does put them in a situation where their defense is not as great, right? They can actually defend conditions and all those other kind of things. So that's a concern too, of just having folks who may not be aware of all their rights and defenses to enter into payment plans that may not be in their best interest. That could have the same result just a little bit further down the lines.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to call William Jordan. I thought I saw Mr. Jordan.
He's here.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jordan.
Good afternoon. My name is William Jordan. I'm a member of the Park Morton Equity Team. under the leadership of Ms. High, who spoke earlier. I'm going to focus first on the resolution regarding move to work. I've provided some language I would like to see added to that resolution regarding the affordable housing ownership, home ownership program that should be a part of Park Morton Phase 2, as well as at Bruce Monroe. The move to work does not include that program explicitly, although that was a promise and a commitment. And I think the resolution should include language that affirms Resolution 2219, 2235, many conversations we've had that home ownership would be a part of that process, affordable home ownership. And so that's what this language speaks about, and I'd like to add it to the resolution since you didn't put it in the move to work plan. Also, move to work should include a place-based home ownership program that the Housing Authority used to have, but claimed that it's not relevant anymore, but it is definitely relevant to Park Morton and Bruce Monroe. Also, it's come to my attention that the development team of Parkview Community Partners, TCB and Dante's Partners have reneged on their commitment to do home ownership as a part of Park Morton New Communities Phase 2, as well as Bruce Monroe. And despite years of working and talking, for them to renege at this point, some action needs to happen from this board and from this agency. So one, what we ask is that the board terminate the role of TCB and Dante's Partners in Phase 2 on site, as well as Bruce Monroe Townhomes, that they no longer be a part of it and that it's done officially, that a new partnership be formed that includes the Park Morton Resident Council as co-partners to focus on that particular phase, that those home ownership phases be done first before the big pie in the sky buildings get done, that the project increase the number of homes from 48 to 96, and from 13 to 40 at Bruce Monroe, focus on this phase, as well as we've worked with DHCD and Amazon and other partners who have agreed to work with us to make that happen. And we need you all to help us to make that happen. And then finally, I know my time is up. Asking this board to not allow political intimidation to make the residents of Park Morton ping pong balls in their ego issues. So just because the council puts money in something and wants you to do it in a certain way, and it creates havoc for residents because a particular council member ego determines that their project needs to drive everything, and then that's what's made this project a problem over through the last 12 years. It's constant political stuff that has nothing to do with the interests of the residents, and the board has not created a buffer. Instead, we chase money from DMPED and other places and send residents through hell, and that's why we have the problems we have now. So please stand up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. I'm going to pause and jump back. I called on Paulette Matthews, and I see that you're in person. Paulette Matthews, did you want to put your testimony on the record?
Hello.
Good.
Always some type of situation that can come up and throw you off board, but I'm here. So, I see 3 familiar faces. Those kind of look familiar, but I don't think it's from here. But it's good to see all of y'all. Communication is the key. We come and we've been testifying for a long time. Long time. And everybody keeps hearing the same thing, the rats. the roaches, the rent messed up, payment arrangements, and things of that nature. And everybody's trying to get it right, but we got to do it in a better way in which we're doing it. I appreciate the things that are taking place and the changes that are being made, but it's always a process. But some of these processes have been very slow. My name is Paulette Matthews, first of all, and I'm a former resident of Berry Farms. That process is a long process too. I see so many other places that have came up and Berry Farm still trying to get there. And I get it. Everybody always talk about money and funding. And a lot of people have died and haven't been able to make it back. At least they thought they was. But it's because of the process. I'm at Keller Miller now, and I have some problems with security and the doors and key pods. I guess that's what y'all call them. I don't know the right terminology. But I think that there should be, because y'all don't have them on stock, and there'll be a lot of people coming in that's homeless in the wintertime, summertime, they smoking, they doing whatever they want to do like it's their apartment. And they shouldn't have that much access. And the seniors that are in there sometimes don't even want to come out and deal with their trash. So this been going on for a long time, so y'all have to do something about it. Y'all have a police department that sits in their vehicles just like MPD. All of them need to get out, start walking. Those doors that are secure, if they was to get out to check them, DCHA and the police would know that these doors are not secured. And to get them fixed a little bit, everybody's acting like they don't care. I've been talking about it for a long time. And first of all, when Chief Reese first came, there also needs to be where though the communication comes where they also be here, having like the directors have to be here. So should Chief Reese or somebody on his staff that can answer the questions and not say, I don't know, I'll get back with you. We get a lot of that. It's time for that to be over. And if you're not going to do anything, at least secure the buildings. You know, if you're not going to have meetings, at least do the job that needs to be done to make people feel safe where they live at. Because a lot of times it feels as though even the people who might work in the management office don't care. I know I'm talking a little bit over time, but it's so much going on. And I'm thankful that y'all are here. I feel as though that y'all need to go to every property. I think that the people who work here and they're comfortable with this work zone far-wise and certification and everything, we have so many centers. I'm actually running a center in Keller Miller, and they should come there to do the certifications because as we know, the government think they're running everything. And so do some people in these neighborhoods, and they beefing so much. You don't know the where, the what, or the how. And yes, it's small, and you might see them on the bus, but to actually come into somebody's neighborhood who think it's their neighborhood to try to get certification, it might not work. I think that might be half of your problem because y'all don't come where you need to go. You need to come in the trenches. Y'all have these meetings, and sometimes I used to say, oh, well, damn, excuse me. They just want us to be involved so they can check off the box because you don't see it. We talk about it, but you don't see it. And if you do, it's such a slow process that nobody that's on these properties now, I have a hard time getting the kind of meetings because they don't have no faith in DCHA. You know what I'm saying? It's like my rent is high. I want somebody to fix it because I'm not signing no agreement because now I'm obligated and I'm duty bound. And people are out here struggling, and we all know this. And we can make it better within this agency and the residents that y'all supposed to come to work for. I got a foreman over there where I'm at. God knows I be praying. Because I don't understand. Like, I'm coming to him with stuff in reference to the property. Why is you telling me get out your office or even saying, Paul Siobhan? I've been calling Miss Siobhan Davis. I got that opportunity from Keith when he was here and Miss Davis being Miss Davis. So like I told him, I don't need him to tell me that because I already know who's going to do the jobs around here and who I can call and I have their number. But you're here. And then he tells me, call Miss Davis and let Miss Davis send her people. Miss Davis' people is already doing what they supposed to do. And it's my pet peeve because I used to work for grounds. I worked from the bottom and worked my way up to the top. I got injured when I didn't have to be because I went out there and worked with my men. You don't need to have, if you can do something, you the foreman, I be feeling some type of way. So my dog got attacked by a rat, both of them dead. One was bigger than a cat. Then I've been getting them up myself. But then when I said, you know what, they need to start seeing this. You understand what I'm saying? And it took about 3 or 4 hours before he could send somebody to get it because I wasn't gonna let my dogs out. And it wasn't that I was scared to get it because I get them all the time. But they need to see what's going on. He didn't send nobody down there till almost close to time for them to leave.
Okay.
And I felt like he could have came down.
Ms. Matthews,
But I'm just saying,
okay.
like, people got to understand and be on point about stuff because you want your paychecks on time. You want certain people to do things on time. You want the residents, oh, we got 30 days, 90 days, but I ain't seen yet, very few occasions, where DCHA has been on time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Matthews.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews.
Is that-
Next, excuse me. Next, we're going to call Princess Daniels. Miss Daniels, I have that you're in person. Perfect. You want to come on up?
Hello to everyone on the panel. I'm a
Uh,
former DC resident and
good afternoon.
sanitors. And I'm coming to talk about just a few things. It will be short, but I gotta go to the field school. I do landlord tenant court now. Hello, Craig. I see some familiar faces, but I'm glad we get to do this today. Again, good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Princess Daniels. I'm a former resident of not just Montana, but Southern Hills, an independent housing advocate for the whole District of Columbia. And as a DC resident surviving a fixed Social Security income, I am standing here today because even though I finally managed to move out, the families that I left behind in Southern Hills and Montana are facing severe eviction crisis driven by corporate fraud and a total lack of DC Housing Authority oversight and HUD. As the board knows, the DC Housing Authority Attorney General just won a lawsuit case, a $2 million settlement against wind companies and the deplorable housing conditions at Southern Hills and Montana. But instead of fixing the units, wind management has spent years aggressively exploiting vulnerable tenants, the elders, and the disabled, manufacturing fake rent debts. I have the proof for that. I know this has, excuse me, y'all, so I normally go in front of judges. This should be easy because it's a lot of y'all. I know this is because I know this because they done it to me. From September 2017 to September 2025, for 8 straight years, wind companies systematically overcharged me. They forced me into illegal recertification process every 3 to 6 months, repeatedly hiking up rent portions, even though I was on a fixed income, never changed by a single penny. Wind companies openly violated the federal HUD regulation 24 CFR Part 5, which legally mandates the housing authority, not the landlords, must calculate the rent, review deductions. The deductions is important. A lot of tenants don't know about the deductions. And applying mandatory adjustments for dependents and medical expenses before setting rent. Before forcing me to recertify multiple times a year, they bypassed the DC Code Section 42-3502.08, which strictly bans housing adjustment more than once every 12 months. Furthermore, under HUD Regulation 24 CFR Section 982, and I'm mentioning these sections because they are important. And these are a lot of the sections that our tenants know nothing about. And I think we need to educate them on their rights too, as I did with in landlord tenant court. And I've done over 200 cases in landlord tenant court and helped with evictions on my own with no funding. I had to mention that. Furthermore, under HUD Regulation 24 CFR 982.56, fixed income tenants on Social Security, TANF, and other fixed incomes are subject to binary free certification, not a 3-month rent squeeze. When companies ran an unauthorized fraudulent parallel system to bypass Brooks Amendment, which caps a low-income tenant housing cost of 30% of their adjusted income. Their actions constitute an illegal rent increase and under DC Code Section 42-3502.11 and a direct breach of HUD's binding housing assistance payment contract. Most DC most DC tenants have no idea that these laws protect them, or the landlords are legally forbidden from calculating these adjustments. When company relies on tenants' ignorance and falsifying balances, steal from the poor, and trigger illegal evictions. The system is so broken that I have been forced to file formal lawsuits against Win Company and other landlords myself to cause back 8 years of stolen money. By individual lawsuits, not enough DC Housing cannot continue to hand over federal vouchers subsidized and predatory corporates that uses fake income audits and triggering illegal evictions. And I'm almost done. As the voice of Southern Hills and Montana terrorists, residents who have intimidated, exhausted to stand at the microphone today, I demand DC Housing Authority to launch an immediate, independent emergency agency audit of all the current tenants' accounts managed by Win Companies, Southern Hills, Montana. Freeze all evictions finally initiated by Win Companies, Montana, and other residents. This results of an audit, coordinated directly with the Office of Attorney General, and a systematic retaliation against the fixed income families, the elders, and the disabled. Now I gotta go to
Thank
court.
you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, God. I appreciate all the new faces, and I appreciate. I think, and hopefully things will change. They have to change.
Okay, we appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Daniels. Chairman, that completes today's public and resident and non-resident testimony.
Okay. I just want to thank all of those who appeared today, both in person and on Zoom, to provide testimony. We do listen, we do take into account what you're saying, and we're constantly trying to make improvements. We've heard a lot, particularly, I guess, over the last several months about lack of communication, and that's something that we are working on. Nicole, as the interim director, is also making some changes to make sure that we do improve our communications. Okay, next, we're going to move to our committee reports and resolutions that we have for today. And first is going to be our Committee on Operations and Administrative Services. Commissioner Silla chairs that. And there are several resolutions that they reviewed in their last committee meeting, and we're going to bring those to the forefront at this time, starting with Resolution 2618.
Hi, Commissioner Teresa Silla. The first resolution is related to 2618 to approve the District of Columbia Housing Authority fiscal year 2027 moving to work annual plan. I believe Housing Authority staff Nicole Barrett is here to give us an overview. I do want to address one of the comments that expressed extreme displeasure at the provisions that are anticipated or built into the Move to Work program. And as explained to us by the Housing Authority staff, we are anticipating a significant shortfall in November and December to the tune of about $35 million, I believe it is. This would require us it would impact, if we stayed within the current parameters, about 1,400 families. And so I think it's really important to understand that these provisions are an attempt to share a little bit of the pain across all of our families so that we do not have to stop payment or otherwise impact these 1,400 families. So I want everybody to recognize that these are measures we do not want to be taking. And this is an attempt to minimize the pain and to be able to access HUD shortfall dollars. So Nicole, please, and maybe the executive director, if you want to speak a little bit to that as well, let me turn to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Silla. Exactly what you said, and Nicole Barrett will talk more about that. But the agency, as we know, HUD did not fund us at the levels of the vouchers that we currently house. Generally, the way that it works is when HUD does their budgets, their calendar year budgets, they're looking at prior year, right? So in this last year, around November and December, when they let the Housing Authority know that they would pretty much be doing level funding, that level funding was from fiscal year 2024 occupancies, right? So when I came in along with former Director Pettigrew, we were on an initiative to lease up. We had a certain amount of funding and vouchers, so we were leasing those up. Unfortunately, as we said, we got our budget letters and they were keeping our funding at a fiscal year 24 level. So what Commissioner Silla was referencing on that shortfall, that is housing assistance payment subsidy shortfall. And in order to be eligible for shortfall funding to ensure that we continue to house approximately 1,400 families, could represent that 20 to 30 something million, you have to put certain measures in place per HUD. And before I hand it over to Nicole Barrett, it's important to understand that the Move to Work initiatives or the Move to Work plans are initiatives that we put into the plan. We still have to figure out or work with you all and talk to everyone on an implementation. This does not mean that when this plan is approved and put into place, that it goes right into effect. This allows us to look and implement these items. So Nicole Barrett, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, everyone. So presenting on resolution 26-18 to seek board approval for our fiscal year 27 Moving to Work annual plan. As a Moving to Work agency, we are required to submit an annual MTW plan to HUD for review and approval. This plan describes our proposed MTW activities, information on our operations, and our goals and priorities for the upcoming fiscal year. We did hold a public hearing on June 16th, as well as a 30-day comment period between May 29th and June 27th. I want to note that comment period did end before the cybersecurity attack that we experienced, so there was no interference with our public process. We also presented on the draft plan to the Citywide Advisory Board at the resident leaders meeting, at the June block by block meeting, and also with our advocate stakeholder group. Of course, also information about our plan and the public process was published in public notices. It was posted on our website and social media platforms. We also sent out emails and texts to our residents to inform them about the plan and the process. In our plan for FY27, we are proposing significant changes to 3 of our existing MTW activities, as well as 3 new MTW initiatives. In our engagement with residents and stakeholders, we did receive some feedback on that draft plan that we had posted. And I just want to note that we will be making some changes based on that feedback, specifically around some of the cost savings measures that we'll be implementing in our plan through these activities. The feedback we received was make sure it is very clear what the impact is. And so we are updating some of the language just to lay that out very specifically about what the impact is, what those cost savings are. We also received some feedback about the exemptions and hardship policies. We have included exemptions and hardship policies for all of these activities that have a resident impact. But the feedback was just make sure those are very robust. This is as Director Wycliffe mentioned, this is really the first step. And so the implementation part where we get deeper into those policies will continue to happen. And, we will ensure you that those policies will be very robust. Additionally, we originally had an activity in our MTW plan, the draft, where we would modify a policy related to our project-based voucher program. After hearing concerns about that activity, we have decided to remove it from the proposed plan that we will submit to HUD. Just to echo what has already been said, I want to emphasize that our plan really is reflective of the current funding environment that we're in. We are facing those budget shortfalls. And so even looking at the outlook for next year, it's not much better. HUD's proposed budget makes additional cuts. Our goal is to protect the households that we serve. And we have to also look critically at how we're operating. MTW does give us tools that other housing authorities don't have to leverage some of those flexibilities to do these cost saving measures while continuing to serve our families. So yes, there are some tough choices, and there was a lot of thoughtful discussion that went into this plan, but we want to ensure you that that's very much balanced against the commitment to our families. Again, just emphasizing the MTW plan is just the first note. It's an authorizing document. It is not the final implementation document. Approving this plan allows us to continue to move forward. There's still a lot of internal and resident engagement work we have to do. We will also have to make changes to our administrative plan and ACOP to reflect any approved activities. I'll pause there. Would the board like me to walk through each individual activity or? Okay. So then that is the end of my presentation.
Okay. Questions for Nicole from the board?
Chair, maybe a comment.
Commissioner Silla. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to show appreciation for taking into account the feedback that you have gotten and the amendments that you have made since the presentation to us to address some of the concerns that you have been hearing.
Commissioner Murphy.
Thank you. Nicole, thank you for this. I am prepared to vote in favor of this, but I just want to join in Commissioner Silla's comment about we're doing so reluctantly. We have heard concerns from advocates, and I want to honor those because of the situation we are in with respect to the HUD funding situation. And Nicole, I appreciate your comment about needing to do our utmost to protect our current families, and that needs to be the priority. So I think it's a little bit with a heavy heart that I'm prepared to support this, but I am prepared to support it for all the reasons that you all have said. So thank you.
If there are no other comments, can we get a motion to approve resolution 26-18?
Motion.
There's a second? Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote on 26-18.
Sure. Chris Murphy?
Yes.
Thank you. Rhonda Hamilton?
Present. I'm abstaining.
Abstain?
She abstained. Teresa Silla?
Yes.
Denise Blackson?
Yes.
And Chairman Raymond Skinner.
Yes.
The resolution is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we're going to go to resolution 26-19 to adopt the local rent supplement program, regulations.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Andrea Powell. I'm the Deputy General Counsel here at DCHA. Here to present to you Resolution 2619, which will authorize the publication of a final rulemaking for the local rent supplement regulations. Earlier this year, we were asked to review our current regulations, which are in 14 DCMR Chapter 95, which were originally done in 2007 when the local rent supplement program was commenced. We made some changes along the way, but we were asked to take another look and align the regulations so that they align with the statute that the council has passed. A lot of the changes related to making sure that the regulation said we will not consider certain things like on criminal background for the local program. That had been done by the council in law. And so these regulations that we've modified and put out for public comment now have the same changes, allowing self-certification. We've already been doing that with the program for number of years. These regulations make it consistent with the law. So these were put out for public comment March 27th for a 30-day comment period. We did receive comments, which we considered and reviewed. And so now, and we made some changes. Now we are prepared to, with your authority, to move forward with final regulations that would make them final in the District of Columbia municipal regulations.
Chair.
Okay. Commissioner Silla.
Just wanted to report out on the discussion at the committee meeting. We did go through the details of, or at least at the highest level, the details of the advocate comments that were received. And I think in particular, there were questions about the allocation, the budget allocation, the targeting and the referrals. There seems to be a misunderstanding about the scope of the housing authority. Those things are set in regulation and advanced by DC Council as part of the budget process. And so just wanted to make sure for our advocates in the room and also following us or tracking us online that some of those concerns need to be referred to DC Council and not necessarily the housing authority.
To echo what Commissioner Silla is saying, in the original act, there was a different methodology for how the funding was allocated between tenant-based, project-based, and sponsor-based, but that has changed over several years. And so the regulations now just reflect how the council makes those decisions.
Commissioner Murphy.
Andrea, thank you for the presentation. Just a question about the comments that we got from advocates that we are that staff is recommending that we unfortunately decline. Is it fair to say that your task here was to conform the regs with the recently passed law, and that where we declined to accept the recommendation was because the law didn't give us that flexibility? Is that
correct?
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? If there are none, can we get a motion to approve Resolution 26-19 to adopt the local rent supplement program regulations?
My apologies. Motion.
The second?
Second.
Second, roll call vote?
Sure. Denise Blackson.
Yes.
Thank you. Teresa Silla.
Yes.
Thank you. Rhonda Hamilton.
I'm abstaining.
Thank you. Chris Murphy.
Yes.
Thank you. Raymond Skinner.
Yes.
Thank you. The resolution is approved.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll go on to Resolution 26-20, and this is to authorize some increases in our current legal services contracts. And I'm going to call on our General Counsel, Amy Glassman.
Sure. So we are requesting authorization to increase 3 legal services contracts. They were competitively procured by the agency in 2021. The 3 contracts are for Venable LLP, Wilson Elser LLP, and Littler Mendelson. Essentially the 3 legal services contracts require more money so that they can continue to provide services to DCHA. These are largely employment and defensive litigation services that we are unable to provide in-house. Also some labor services, those types of services. Specifically, the requested modifications are the Littler contract. We are looking to modify it to add an additional $779,000. The Wilson Elser contract would be to add $354,000 to it, and then the Venable contract an additional $998,000. So those are the three. I'm happy to answer additional questions, but I wanted to.
So,
provide that.
as I understand it, these contracts are all nearing the end of their term, and we're adding money so we can continue to have those services before we re-procure
Correct.
additional legal services. Okay.
Correct.
Chair.
Commissioner Murphy first, and then Commissioner Sullivan.
Very quick one. Amy, will this trigger, because two of these are now going over $1 million, will these have to go to the council for approval?
They are typically, we'll have to discuss that. I mean, typically the 1 year, it's a long story, but I don't believe so because of.
Okay, because sometimes it tipped,
It's a long story.
Okay.
I don't believe so,
If you
but
could just double check that to make sure
Yeah.
we're on top of that. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Sullivan.
Yes, when we, in addition to the questions that you just raised, Commissioner Skinner, we discussed the full scope of legal firms that had been procured in the original round, and confirmed that the reason why these three are being elevated for additional funding is due to their work product. And so for some of the other firms that were not being used, the money from their contracts have been moved. And we are focusing on these three legal firms to close out services.
It's good to know.
For the rest of the contracting period. This is the last option year, correct? Yep.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? So I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 26-20 to authorize increases in contracts for legal services. Is there a motion?
So moved.
The second,
Second.
roll call vote?
Sure. Rhonda Hamilton.
Man, support.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Can you repeat your vote? I'm sorry.
I'm voting in support.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Teresa Silla,
Yes.
thank you. Denise Blackson,
Yes.
thank you. That was yes, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. Chris Murphy,
Yes.
thank you, and Raymond Skinner.
Yes.
Thank you. The resolution is approved.
Okay, we'll move to the next resolution, which is 26-21 to authorize contract for DCHA security guard services.
Chair.
Do you want to, yes.
In terms of an overview that we received at the committee level, the reason why this contract is being extended for a 6-month period is to ensure that we have sufficient time to work out a robust scope of services before we go out to procure, before we go out for a competitive procurement. We, under discussion with the executive director and the executive team, we confirmed that there will be an opportunity to engage residents on the new scope of work, and that we can share the scope at the next block by block meeting, which will hopefully be later this month. I think next week, Thursday, is what's currently on the schedule. And we received a number of recommendations from Commissioner Blackson, which the team will be taking into account and considering in conjunction with the feedback we expect to receive at the next block by block.
Okay, any other comments? If hearing none, can we get a motion to approve resolution 26-21, a contract for DCHA security guard services?
Motion.
Motion second,
Second.
roll call vote?
Sure. Teresa Silla,
Yes.
thank you. Chris Murphy,
Yes.
thank you. Denise Blackson,
Yes.
thank you. Rhonda Hamilton,
Yes.
thank you. Raymond Skinner,
Yes.
thank you. The resolution is approved.
Okay, and then finally, Resolution 26-22 to authorize execution of a contract for maintenance, repair, and equipment, materials, appliance services.
I can give the committee, at least the committee overview, and then turn it over to you, Director. The way that this procurement works is very interesting, or at least was very interesting to us. But we were greatly reassured that it's Home Depot, the national supplier. And so it ultimately made sense to us. But I turn it over to Nicole to explain the mechanism with which this procurement was made.
Thank you, Commissioner Saylor. So this option is a cooperative where an IDIQ, where the housing authority looks to other housing authorities that have contracts with similar companies that we all utilize. In this case, as Commissioner Saylor said, this is for HD Supply. So many are very familiar with the company. This is a company that we use to order all of our maintenance, generally for the most part, materials, appliances, anything is needed to make repairs in our housing units. The contract was up for solicitation, and one of HUD's required or allowable, methods is a cooperative agreement. And that's the route that we took for this solicitation. So again, the need is to ensure that we have sufficient, adequate supplies on hand for repairs and maintenance, any unit turnovers, any appliances, and so on and so forth that are required to be replaced. We looked at our historical costs throughout our properties. That's the reason why this is at asking $900,000 for the year. Just from looking, we've forecasted what we will need and historically what we spend annually in these areas. If there's any other questions, I can answer those.
Any questions? If there are none, can we get a motion?
Maybe actually, sorry, Mr. Chairman, can I just one question? I just was a little bit confused. We didn't have time to do our own procurement. That way we're piggybacking on the IGA procurement process.
It's not necessarily, you don't have the time. Generally, if we're all using HD Supply, and we currently and have been using them for decades, a more streamlined and quicker approach is that way.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, motion for approval of 26-22.
Motion.
The second? Second?
Second.
Roll call vote?
Sure. Rhonda Hamilton,
Yes.
thank you. Denise Blackson,
Yes.
thank you. Chris Murphy,
Yes.
thank you. Teresa Silla,
Yes.
thank you. Raymond Skinner,
Yes.
thank you. The resolution is approved.
Okay. Before we continue, I'm going to ask that we take a 10-minute recess. The chair has to take a bathroom break. Chair Hamilton. Okay. Okay. Is Teresa there? Okay, she's there. Everybody's back. Okay, thank you for your indulgence. This is the DCHA Board of Commissioners meeting July 8th, 2026, and we are reconvening at 2:55 p.m. Thank you. Commissioner Silla,
Yes.
are you finished with your Operations Committee report?
Yes.
Okay, thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. So next, we're going to move to the Capital Projects Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We covered quite a few topics, which I will not go into great detail on, but I will just highlight them so that folks know we are talking about them in our committee meetings. We have got an update on potential work on Melvo, which is, as folks know, a collection of properties that we're looking to figure out how to renovate. And Montana was one of the projects alluded to earlier. So there seems to be some good forward movement on that, and we'll look for future updates. We also talked about a potential recapitalization at 400M, the building at 400M that would allow us to do some in-place renovations. It's not a terribly old building, but it could use a refresh, and the team has a plan to try to make that happen. As always, we talked about the IRB projects, the bond-funded projects. And I think one of the things that we should be clear about is, as folks know, we initially had a list of 9 projects for phase 1, and we are now in the due diligence phase of that work and figuring out the cost of those projects and what the repositioning will support in those projects. And it's a little bit sobering. I don't think we're ready to sort of come forward with a plan as we look at all the options, but it does seem possible that we may not be able to do all 9 projects in phase 1 as we had hoped. And so I want to be transparent about that as we proceed down that conversation. We're obviously trying to be as ambitious as we can be, but we can only be as ambitious as the funding allows. So that's something we're going to be keeping a close eye on. We also got an update on one of the 2 lines of credit that the board has approved the staff incurring, and so far we've been pretty conservative on that. It seems to be in pretty good shape, and the funds to pay off the line of credit appear to be there. We also talked about what the council has done to our capital funding in the most recent budget that has just been adopted in the last few weeks. And as some folks may know, they basically have sort of swept some of our capital dollars and pushed it off into future years. And this is a bit concerning to us because we have we have maintained a list of projects that we were going to be using those capital dollars for. And so the staff has given us an update on what the impact of that reprogramming will be. And I think we're looking for a memo. I'll follow up with some of the team afterwards, but I think we're looking for a memo from the staff to the board that we may share with the council just to understand the consequence of that, because these are not necessarily decisions that we would have wanted to make, but we are in a position where we may have no choice but to make, and we want to be open about that and why it's happening. We also talked about the repairs as the several year urgent needs campaign that is ongoing and good progress there. Some of those units are being held as we look at the IRB renovations and whether they will serve as swing space for some of the properties that we're looking to renovate on IRB. So we've made good progress in a lot of different properties. But we need to hold on to some of those spaces until we can sort of think through which properties will be renovated or rehabilitated with the IRB bond-funded project. We also got Mr. Jordan is not here, I don't think, but Mr. Jordan, I think at one of our recent meetings raised Park Morton vacancy rates, and that was a question we asked for staff for an update on that. And it seems to be it sounded like maybe his information was somewhat out of date because they're making good progress. We'll ask for another update at our next meeting, but I think the occupancy rate when at our last capital projects meeting was 71% with a plan for a pretty significant increase pretty quickly. So we'll look for another update on that. And then I just want to honor former Commissioner Gossery's comment about social housing, which I really appreciate. And I think that's going to be one of the topics that we're going to ask the team to come to our next capital projects committee meeting with any sort of reaction or thoughts to. It's obviously a topic that's been in the news lately, and Councilmember Louis George has talked about it. And I think we want to think through whether there might be opportunities in ways that HUD would allow for us to consider what that might look like. I don't want to make any promises. I don't want to even assume it's possible, but it's certainly something that we should at least explore. So thank you for raising that issue. That is about it.
Okay, any questions for Commissioner Murphy from the board? Okay, hearing none.
I do have one.
Okay,
So,
go ahead. I'm sorry I missed you, Commissioner Hamilton.
oh, it's okay. I just think that that was very helpful and just in terms of just looking at the money that's available for the 9 properties and how extensive the renovations are going to be on some of those units. But one thing that I would ask as soon as you know, so we can let folks know, because this is creating a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
Because people don't know when they're going to move, if they're going to move, where they're going to be relocated. And we don't want this to weigh on people's mental and physical health more than it already is. So I think the sooner that we can let the residents know if they're not going to be a part of this phase and what's that going to mean, I think the better.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Commissioner. And I think one of the things that we struggle with is we want to be able to communicate and share information, but we also understand that things are often in flux. And so we don't want to mistakenly say, well, this is the plan for now, and then next month it changes. So I very much appreciate your desire and I share it. We're just trying to find that balance of how can we be, open about some of the issues that we're working through without giving out information that, becomes incorrect soon enough. So we'll keep trying to find that balance, and your words will stay in our committee conversations. So thank you.
Okay, the Resident Services Committee, Commissioner Blackson.
On this time. Good afternoon. I am Commissioner Denise Blackson, the Chair of Committee on Resident Services. The Committee on Resident Services, we are highly focused on resident engagement. And a lot of this comes from the initiative, the Block by Block, which is set under the the Committee on Resident Services. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm getting a little tongue-tied here. The Block by Block brings the resident leaders, the staff, everyone to the forefront where they can meet and connect that way. We are being very transparent with the residents and the leaders, and resident leaders get to bring back the information from their residents. So we want to equip the resident leaders with valuable information that they can take back to their actual communities and put them in place. So some of the resident leaders seen here today speak at the Block by Block and share a lot of this information that they share here in the board meeting. And what we do is try to assist them with the best way we can. We have the staff right there, the interim director and her team there to be able to answer those questions and put them things in place. Recently at our June Block by Block meeting, we had a few presentations, educational trainings on the Move to Work plan, which you heard here today, be presented here today. Customer call center. So a lot of times from residents, we may hear complaints like people not answering the phone at the call center when they call for an emergency and things like that. So we wanted to have a presentation on that for resident leaders can know what to do in their community when they take it back to their residents. Tell them exactly how they can reach someone things like that. We had an overview from the Office of Audit and Compliance. We've been waiting for that overview for a couple of months, and that was the date for the presentation. We also had a discussion with the resident leaders, sharing open dialogue and concerns and best practices and ideas. We definitely want to hear from the residents directly on what they think we can do to improve. So heavy on the resident engagement. Also, we've been hosting commissioner pop-ups. Me and Commissioner Silla was recently at Kentucky Courts. And a lot of the information we bring back in the other committees come from the block by block meeting. It comes from the direct dialogue with residents. So the commissioner pop-ups has been going very well. We'll be at Garfield Sir Senior this Friday. I was at Fort DuPont started TERS community room last night with a youth town hall. So all this falls under the block by block and the resident service committee. Safety is our priority. In September, it may be August. I'm trying to get a date set, working with DCHA on their availability. We are having the Housing Choice Voucher Town Hall, providing voucher participants the opportunity to engage directly with the commissioners, DCHA leadership, ask questions, share concerns, and learn about available resources or programming. We will continue expanding engagement opportunities throughout the year to ensure residents of all ages across all DCHA communities have meaningful opportunities to be heard, stay informed, and remain connected. Again, I am Commissioner Denise Blackson, Chair Committee on Resident Services. And if you ever need to reach me, I'm always available. 202-250-4451. I'll repeat that again. My phone number is 202-250-4451. And we had a great presentation from Office of Public Safety. I want to make sure I don't leave them out. Officer Robinson is great with answering questions and has a great rapport with the resident leaders as well as residents. So that's kind of what the Committee on Resident Services do. We engage with the community and residents and always looking for an opportunity to engage. So feel free to invite me out and I'll bring some commissioners along with me, and the director is there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Blackson. So the Committee on Budget and Audit did not have a meeting this month, so we will forego their report and move to the last item on the agenda, which is Commissioner's Time. And I want to take a minute to recognize and honor Rosa Burbridge, who was the resident commissioner, and she came off the board when Commissioner Hamilton came on, a month ago. Commissioner Burbridge was a resident commissioner. She was appointed in 2022 with the onset of what was called the Star Board at that time. And I'm not going to read the resolution, but I just want to put it on the record that we have a bunch of whereases, and then finally it says that now therefore it is proclaimed that the DCHA Board of Commissioners, through adoption of this proclamation, recognizes Rosa Burbridge for her dedication to service, and to sincerely thank her for her commitment and tireless efforts to the mission of DCHA and its residents. And it's adopted by the Board of Commissioners the 8th day of July, 2026. And this is, for the record, Proclamation 26-03 to recognize and honor Rosa Burbridge for exemplary service to the District of Columbia Housing Authority. Thank you. Okay, anything else from any other commissioners? Okay, Commissioner Silla.
Thank you so much. I quickly wanted to refer to my notes. Thank you, Commissioner Murphy, for also reiterating an interest in social housing. Commissioner Van Gossen wanted to mention that the lived experience resident members of the Interagency Council on Homelessness are also very interested in exploring social housing and want to be doing that in partnership with the Housing Authority. So thank you so much for also confirming your interest in that. A couple of topics. One related to tracking consumer concerns. I did raise this with the Committee on Operations a couple of months ago. Director Wycliffe has reassured me that she has started to do her own tracking, and I'm hoping to work with our new Senior VP, Carolyn Punter, to also ensure that we are doing tracking of consumer concerns, especially given that some of the concerns that we have been hearing are recurring and repeat complaints. We want to make sure, at least I want to make sure we're understanding the prevalence of these complaints and making sure we're identifying and tracking trends. I was very touched by the request for support to voucher holders. This has a really big impact, not just on HCVP vouchers, but also LRSP vouchers as well. And so I wanted to indicate that I think that there is better partnership that we need with some of the other district agencies, especially the Department of Behavioral Health, and maybe even the Department of Human Services around support for navigating housing resources. Our housing specialists at DC Housing Authority don't have the capacity to support housing navigation, tenancy supports, stabilization services. And so just want to be looking into that as well. Last but not least, as a result of the pop-up events sponsored by Commissioner Blackson, we have the opportunity to visit Kentucky courts, and I physically witnessed the challenges with securing front doors to our buildings. The front doors of Kentucky courts, several of the buildings, you literally just could push the door open. And so we were, several members of the executive team were present and have confirmed that this is a challenge. We heard the complaints today as well. And so hopefully this can be a priority that we can address.
Okay, Commissioner Clay.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chair. I just want to note that last month I was able to attend the Fatherhood Initiative event. And I was just really overwhelmed by the awesome event. There were men here of all ages and really talking about their experiences through this initiative. And I just want to applaud Brian Harris and team for the excellent work that they do. One of the things that I did learn while at the initiative was that I believe the apprenticeship program, because of some of our funding challenges, we haven't been able to continue that program. One of the things I would like for us to consider doing, and I know that there was a question about programs for our seniors as well. I would like to see whether or not we could, and I would be glad to kind of help with this as well, look into some creative ways to find funding for some of those programs. When I think about something like the apprenticeship program, perhaps there's some local developers that would want to help fund something like that. So I would love to look at maybe some creative ways that we could do things like that, because it's about a year ago, I had a chance to meet some of the young people in the apprenticeship program, and they talked about how that program had literally changed their lives. And I think those programs are important, and I would love to partner however I can to look at some creative ways.
Thank you. We'll take that. And just for one clarification, the ATP program was paused, not necessarily due to funding. It was that we are working through a different curriculum.
Okay.
And then that may bring more funding, which we'll talk about, but it's the curriculum now. We were having a lot of staff do the teaching, and actually out of this site, we had a program set up. So we're now, as I said, working to have a stricter curriculum. And when I say stricter, I mean to help the actual individuals work through for some of our licensed electricians and plumbing like that. So we're revamping it right now.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Commissioner Murphy?
Two very quick things. Oh,
Okay.
Did you?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
go ahead, Commissioner Murphy, and
Okay.
then I'll call.
Thank you. Two very quick things. One, I just wanted to appreciate Anton Shaw and his team. I saw in the notes, the board book, the addition of the online sign up for voucher holders, and that's great. It's just really the ambition and the constant desire to improve and be better, even when we're doing well, we're doing pretty well. Sort of raising the bar on yourself is just, I think it's really a great admirable cultural touchstone. So I appreciate that the agency is always innovating. And secondly, I just want to sort of add my voice to those who appreciated the team for all the hard work on the cyber attack. I don't know all the details, but I have a sense of how much of a challenge this has been, and the fact that you guys have come together and figure out a way to overcome this with some disruption, but frankly, maybe not as much as I had feared. So really want to appreciate that. I know there have been some long hours and a lot of weekend hours, including over the 4th of July, and just really want to acknowledge that and appreciate that dedication. So thank you to your
Okay,
entire
and
team.
along that line, we just got a note that the website is back up and running. So
Kudos to the team. Thank you.
Commissioner Blackson, okay.
Yes, I wanted to share in on the fatherhood initiative that would me and Commissioner Clay attended that event. That was a very good event. I was glad to hear the fathers speak and share how they wouldn't have made it without that program, basically, that they really enjoyed it. And I wanted to go back to the ATP program. I've had the pleasure of actually visiting them hands-on down in the workshop on numerous occasions, going for the suit fittings. And I'm oftentimes asked while out engaging with the residents, when will the program start back up? So to know it's on pause versus knowing it's completely cut out is great. Nicole, thank you for that. I also wanted to share in on socializing for the seniors, right? A lot of times when I host events, I have a lot of seniors that come to the events. Like I have the ice cream palooza this Saturday at Sibley Plaza from 12 to 4. And I'm sure former Commissioner Van Garsary can vouch for that. I have a lot of people attend these events. Last month, I had almost 300 residents attend, and that was kind of low for my event. Just to put it on the record, that was really low. I have over 400 people attend every event. And seniors, when they see me, they like, Commissioner, when are you having another event? They really look forward and they like to socialize. So getting them out of the house and engaged is very important to me, and whatever I can do, or whoever want to work on a program as commissioners, I don't want to take up too much time on it. I'm all for it. Just count me in. And anything I can do to help at any time, just let me know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? If there's nothing else, there will be no meeting in August. This is typical. The Housing Authority does not meet in January and August. So the next Board of Commissioners meeting will be held on Wednesday, September 9th at 1 p.m. At a location to be determined. But information regarding attending the meeting or participating via Zoom will be posted on our website at www.dchousing.org. And with that, I want to wish everyone a happy rest of the summer. And the meeting is adjourned at 3:18 p.m. Thank you.
Shanita.